Callouts can be just as important as dimensions when creating construction documents. A callout is a note with an arrow that points to a specific area of the drawing. Callouts might be used to specify building materials, typical conditions, or give special instructions to the contractor. Let's look at how we can create callouts using AutoCAD. I'm going to open up a drawing. We're going to go into our Chapter 12 folder located inside the Exercise Files directory. And we're going to come down to the number 3 drawing, the Q leader drawing. I'm going to highlight this guy and click Open. We're going to use this drawing to learn how to create callouts. Now I already have a callout on my screen. Generally speaking, a callout is nothing more than a piece of text with an arrow. Now we're going to use the QLeader command to create our callouts. Interesting story, in AutoCAD 2008, the QLeader command has been removed from the toolbar. If we look in the toolbar, we no longer have an icon for that command. Now the command's been around forever. Autodesk decided to remove it because they would rather we use the new MLeader command. Now the MLeader command relies on the new annotative property, and the annotative property automatically scales our dimensions and text. It's kind of like CAD magic. So I feel it's important at this point in your training to understand the nuts and bolts of how these things work before we start doing things automatically. So what we're going to do first is we're going to restore the QLeader icon to the Dimension toolbar. As a bonus, it gives us an opportunity to see how easy it is to modify our toolbars. All right, let's go get the QLeader icon. I'm going to go up to my Tools pull down, and I'm going to come down to Customize, and in the flyout, I'm going to select Interface. This brings up my Customize User Interface dialog. Great big dialog, really not that hard to use. I'm going to come up to the Toolbars section, and I'm going to click the plus to open this guy up. This shows me a listing of all of the toolbars in AutoCAD. Notice I happen to have one called Dimension. Let me click the plus to open up the Dimension toolbar. And when I do, I can see a series of Dallas Cowboy symbols. Each one represents a command that happens to be on that toolbar. Now our goal is to add the QLeader command to this toolbar. I can do that by coming down to the command list area. This is where I can go shopping for AutoCAD commands. In this area at the bottom, I have every possible command that I could launch using AutoCAD. So what I'm going to do is grab the scroll, and I'm going to hold down, and I'm going to drag down to the Dimension area. I'm going to come down to Dimension Leader. Here's the QLeader command right here. Let me click this command once. When I do, we can see that's the QLeader command. All I have to do to add this command to the toolbar is just click and hold on it and drag it right into the toolbar. Now it sounds easy, and it is. There's just one little thing we have to watch out for. Let me click and hold on this tool, and as I drag it away, I can see my little plus. Watch what happens when I get into the upper window. As soon as I drag into the window, it scrolls on me. No problem, just push to the top of the window and it'll scroll right back. Okay, I'm still holding my mouse button down. Notice I have a little blue line as I move up and down with my cursor. The blue line is the location of where I'm going to drop this command in the toolbar. I'm going to take and push right to the top here, and I'll release. The QLeader button has now been added to the end of the toolbar. In fact, if we look over at the little toolbar preview, I can see there he is. Let me come down and click the OK button. AutoCAD does its thing, reloads the toolbars, and the QLeader command is right back where he used to be. Now that we have him, let's use him. I'm going to create my first callout, so I'm going to come up and click my QLeader icon, and AutoCAD's asking me to specify first leader point. Basically, it's saying, where do you want to put the arrow? Now, be careful of the running object snap. I'd like to click the edge of this circle. So you know what? I'm going to come down and turn the running object snaps off. I'm going to click the edge of my circle. I'll pull away, and as I pull away, AutoCAD creates the arrow. Let me click one more time, and then I'm going to right-click. Now AutoCAD wants me to specify my column width. The text for my QLeader callouts will be mtext. So let me just pull away and I'll drag a width to here. I'll click. We can always change it later. And then lastly, AutoCAD's saying, well, you can type your text right here if you want, or if we hit enter, I can go into the mtext editor. Let me hit enter, and I'm going to type in chrome-plated housing, and let me click OK. Now, the first thing we're thinking is technically from a drafting perspective, I don't like the location of that leader. That's all right, we'll deal with that in just 1 second. I'm going to make one more leader. We're going to come up and click our QLeader button. Specify first point. I'm going to point to the knob this time, so I'm going to come up and click right here. Once again, as I pull away, I get my arrow. Let me click to set the leader, and then right-click. Now I can pull to set my width, and then I'll click, and then I'm going to right-click to get to the mText editor. Once I type in my callout, I can click OK to dismiss the dialog. Now, these callouts are dynamic. That means they're very smart. I can move the callout and the arrows go along for the ride. Watch this. If I use the move command, I'll select move and I'll grab this callout. I'll right-click to finish my selection. Specify base point. Well, if I want to, I can use my insertion point. Let's click insertion point and I'll grab the insertion point of this text. Let's move it up here. Notice the arrow goes along for the ride. Let's move again. Let's move him. Right-click. I'm just going to pick a point on screen. Let's move him down here. Okay, the arrow will always go along with the text. Now, what about an instance where I'd like to move the text in relation to the arrow? No problem, I can do it with grips. If I click this leader, I have a grip at the end. Let me click the grip, and I'll put it where I'd like it. I'll put it here. Let me hit escape to clear the grips, and now let's move this text. Move this text, right-click to finish the selection. I'll pick a point on screen and we'll move it up here. Okay, one last time, repeat move. I'll click this text, pick a point on screen. You can try and fool it if you want. AutoCAD's smart enough to keep the leader with the text. By placing our callouts using the QLeader command, we've created nice dynamic callouts that we can easily rearrange and move around if we have to add more dimensions or more callouts to our drawing.